Welcome everyone to the Realty Plus Real Talk series. And today we have with us Ricky Wells, Regional Managing Director, Capital Development, the Executive Center. Ricky, a very warm welcome to you.
Thanks very
And
much. Glad to be here. Thank you.
thank you to have you here today. We finally got to catch you in your busy schedule. And the Executive Center, it is one of the most premium flex workspace brands globally with over 89 operational centers worldwide. Um, a big challenge for a global large-scale flex space provider is to give customized solutions to the clients. So, Ricky, how are you handling giving bespoke solutions and being a large-scale flex space provider? What is your approach?
Look, I think we as a business have operated in this space for a very long time. And I think very early on, we understood the significance of customization for our clients. Around 92% of our customers today that are in an executive center are global MNCs. They have their own particular needs, as a business, and our job is to provide a platform for them to succeed. So without understanding what they need, it's very difficult for us to basically design and deliver workspaces for them. So, we've invested a lot of resources, time, people, and process and systems to understand, what are the needs of, our customers. And then understanding that, fundamentally large scale developments are a long-term commitment, and the success of the physical space is dependent on learning how they want the space to perform. So I think for us, customization has always been key. It's been everything. It's been central to everything that we've done, particularly on the large scale rollouts. And I think it's been very, very successful. We are looking for really having a deep rooted sense of what our clients want, and there's an uncompromising commitment to that. I think people know, being a premium provider, people aren't looking for cookie cutter designs. They're looking for an investment into them as a business, so that whatever we're delivering for them is directly mapped to their specific requirements as a business.
Correct. And you mentioned MNCs. The MNCs have offices across uh, cities, across regions. You have workspaces across regions. How important is to bring the cultural nuances of that region within that workspace so that the client can identify, okay, this is my office in this particular region. How do you do that?
So I think I'm asked this question very a lot. Within my role, I'm designing workspaces from Tokyo to Chennai. And it's obviously it's very different. I think one thing I would say is at the executive center, the functionality of the space um, is our secret kind of algorithm from a design perspective. Um, we allow, cultural and design evolution based on the specifics of, the city where it's being delivered. But generally speaking, people are buying into, a provider that's had 30 years of experience with understanding what the specific needs are for, our clients. And I think what we are, what we allow, well, I guess allow is probably not the right word, but what we strive to do is allow the flexibility for, cultural nuance to ensue from our physical spaces. But generally speaking, leverage on our 30 years of experience, understanding how the spaces should perform. The functionality is leverages both our global design standards, but also our local nuance, what is ever required.
Of course, that is where all the experience comes in, and it's a fine balance between maintaining the brand identity and bringing in the regional influences in the workspace. Another influence is of the new generation of professionals. How are they looking at in terms of design and technology? What are their expectations from the workspaces? How have you seen it in your experience?
Um, I mean, myself, I spend a large period of time looking at the general business lifestyle of our customers. And, obviously there's trends that happen within the environment. Yes, I think younger professionals seek a slightly different environment to maybe something of the past from which is a bit more institutional. There's a deeper sense of collaboration, brand belonging, sustainability, a physical space that matches their values as an individual. I think that's certainly something that I've seen has changed. And what we do is spend a lot of time looking at that business lifestyle segment, and I think for me, some of the big focuses this year is spending time and understanding the commute. What are people doing in the workplace, outside of the workplace? How do we bring F&B, hospitality, focus working, even the educational sector? How do we take those learnings about how people are transitioning into the workplace for the first time and creating
Right.
an environment that allows them to excel? I think that's, and I think that's a really key focus on it. I would say that it isn't age specific. I think
Right.
the business lifestyle segment is always an evolving. What I do today may be very different to when I entered the workplace all those years ago. So I think it's not age specific. I think it's more about focusing on that kind of business lifestyle segment, analyzing retail, hospitality, and then ensuring that we as a kind of workplace provider are catering for that full spectrum of, business plus also lifestyle environment.
Correct. I think rightly said, it is more trend specific. Every few years, there is new theme, new trends that come up, and workspaces have to keep up in sync with those trends. Today is now what everyone is talking about, artificial intelligence now. So how AI is influencing design decisions when it comes to flex spaces?
Yeah, I think look, we've invested into it. I think it's massively helping on the data analytics and reinforcing decisions that have been made. I think in the past, before this technology was on board, it was more kind of business intel, a lot more feeling. Now it's driven by fact. And I think that massively helps us. And you asked me the question before around kind of at scale, here at the executive center. We're in the business to be growing our portfolio. We need to be ensuring that we have data-driven decisions for our physical workspaces, and AI is a big part of that. And it's really reinforcing some of our investment decisions, which is directly impacted by, the behavior of what I said earlier regarding the business lifestyle segment, understanding how people are using the space every single day, to ensure that we understand what we are. We are a platform for other people to proceed, and we need to ensure that we have the data to reinforce those decisions to ensure that the design and the physical and the operations of the space is mapped to how the customers are performing when they're in the space.
Great, great. So rather than the gut feeling, now it is the data, the AI, which is helping you churn out the data and giving the insights. Any example that you can give where, AI helped you bring in something unique to a workspace, uh, benefited your clients as
Yeah,
well?
look, I think space planning is a massive part. I think that massively helps. And I also think the AI assists with taking customer data. Okay, so what I mean by that is, let's say there's a customer that wants to take an at scale large solution. They may be investing into India for the first time. They have global standards. They may not have any kind of experience in India. What we can then do is take two different data sets from space planning principles, spatial analysis, and amalgamate the two in a very, very quick format. I think the AI has massively assisted us at the kind of business case feasibility aspect of the business. One of the things I would say at this stage is, there is still a huge human centric component to design, particularly with the aesthetic design, genuine connection on the feeling of the individuals, the decision makers, the staff. for me, we are not seeking to replace that element, but what we're doing is, very much infusing AI into our spatial designs and our data-driven elements at the very much at the front end. It allows businesses to get to a decision-making process much, much faster, and then give us the best opportunity in order to deliver, the project for them, in this, the right place of time.
Rightly said, human-centric design remains human-centric because it's catering to humans, and AI or any other technology is enabler, as you said. It's helping, the fast track and scale up the decisions, make them faster. Experience is becoming a buzzword in workspaces.
Yeah.
Um, Sustainability, wellness, design thoughtful workspaces. Um, how do you think these few elements can help, are helping, in fact, the companies with their productivity of workforce, with the retaining of the talent, which is one big issue with most of the organizations that. So how do these elements of experience, design, sustainability, wellness are becoming a big role in workspace? And how are
Oh,
you
it's a big
doing it?
question.
Yes, and
That's
how
a
are
very
you
big
doing
question.
it?
Well, let me tell you about the executive center, first part of it. So we have an uncompromising quality, kind of commitment to quality. I think that's the first and foremost. For me and our teams that work on designing and delivering all of our spaces and all of our operations staff, we understand our responsibility. And our responsibility is that we need to create an environment that ensures, fosters belonging, productivity, a sense of achievement. We have, our I'm letting you into a little secret here, but the whole design philosophy of the executive center is you have, 180-degree angle and a 5 second time period to set the expectations of the day from our physical space. It's the first thing that they smell, whether it's the coffee, whether it's the scent, whether it's the first piece of marble, whether it's the way someone's greeted you from a hospitality staff. It needs to foster something special to that individual. Then that individual can then go about their day and achieve whatever they want to achieve within their life. So we put a lot of time and effort into experience, and I think that's why we are the company that we are today. And I think every leading best practice, businesses, whether it's hotel industry, in any form of real estate, or even in product design, I think you have to have an absolutely uncompromising commitment to that experience, how people feel, and the physical aspects of the space are massively important. Look, we are a premium provider. You get a great feeling when you come into our space. Why? It's done by design. It's done with a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of experience. So that is absolutely key, from our perspective. Anyone can kind of build a space, but can anyone? It's a unique talent from a design perspective to alter the way that someone's feeling about their day. From my perspective, I watched someone today walk into our center. The guy looked like he had the world on his shoulders, and he walked into our space today, and one of our members of staff, greeted him, said, "How are you doing?" He looked into the space, said, like, "This is a brilliant environment. It's the first time I've been in here. It's just great." And you could see the kind of relief on his, on his face. And I thought, do you know what? We've done our job correctly. So I think there's that component about setting expectation day to day, but then there's also realizing that design is never kind of static. It's constantly moving, and our physical spaces needs to be constantly moving. People that choose to work in our spaces, they need to feel invigorated by the space. I talked about earlier about values, sustainability. It's the behaviors of the space that we have to do every single day, every single hour. When the door is closed, the uncompromising commitment to that level of hospitality to make people feel special, and then ultimately through that kind of feeling of overall sense of, I'd say, sense of specialness allows them to achieve whatever they want to do. I think the other thing is on the customers, on the business side, when a business is investing into their staff through the physical workspace, it makes the employee feel special. It allows them to have good brand recognition, to the loyalty to the business, and I think it's extremely multifaceted, and it makes them inspired. And I think the other thing about the executive center is that we're not just for one client. Some of the times in our environments, in our buildings, there are countless high performing businesses that operate within one ecosystem. And I think you can also
Great.
leverage a lot of that. So I think it breeds good practices for all parties, and foster that kind of innovation, productivity, and all the efficiencies that go along with it.
Great. I think very rightly said, anyone can build spaces, but bringing in experience is what requires special expertise. It is the first impression when a client walks in, and what is the impression, what the 5 second he feels, and if that space makes him feel okay, it's a good day to day. So what more than a workspace can do for that client? So fantastic. I think very rightly said that design has to cater to the clients, and if a workspace has, as you mentioned, there are many more high energy clients there. It creates a ecosystem of learning from each other as well, and experience, as you mentioned, is what even the employees want when they see that our company is investing in our workspace. So that brings in loyalty to the brand and brand recognition
Yeah,
itself. Yeah, great.
I think you
Anything?
also talked about the Gen Z component, and I think
Yeah,
that
yeah,
point that I made around an ecosystem. I think, look,
yeah.
when they transition from an environment, an educational environment into a business environment, they're used to a very multifaceted, multicultural, diverse environment. And then they want to come into the business space that allows that. And I think, working within a flexible office space, sometimes we can have hundreds of different businesses in multiple different facets. And that is very similar to the education environment. So I think, to answer your question earlier regarding younger professionals, I think this very much feeds into that kind of narrative of wanting collaboration, et cetera, et cetera.
I think that's one of the biggest pull factor for flex workspaces. Why people are going towards flex workspaces is because so that they can collaborate with many other professionals of different streams, different industries, learn from each other. For India, what aspects of international design practices do you think Indian workplaces can adopt to enhance employee experience, well-being? Any
Well,
particular?
I think there's definitely been a movement from more kind of industrial based design. I think that's probably, the first thing. You quite rightly know, the executive center is very much a front of house, not a back of house provider. And I think, you know, the future of India kind of design, workplace design, is about cultivating the kind of social capital. I think, it's about developing community hubs, unlocking collaboration, peer learning, everything we talked about before, and I think a genuine sense of belonging. I think the reality is that's the same as many other countries. But I think finding what, India is and what it needs to represent is obviously unique to India, and I think the journey that we are all going on together is super super exciting. What we are bringing on a global standpoint is quality. It's a consistent quality experience, okay, and and I think that is what we're bringing to the market. But what the future of the workspace is, our customers are going to tell us that. Okay. And then we are going to deliver that environment in order for them to succeed. So it's not about what we're giving to them. It's actually the other way around, which is the first part around how AI is going to help, how the data driven decisions are going to help, because the future of the executive center today may be quite different, and the product that we offer in the last 10 years. But one of the things I would say is, I've been in the workspace a long time. Obviously, the executive center, I would say, is one of if not the original flexible office provider, globally from a Pan Asia, South Asia perspective. We are extremely well adept to dealing with the cycles and trends of the market. We design spaces that are now, but also for a timeless design. Okay. So, and I think we generally see the investment into technology, hospitality, F&B, focused workspaces as the key to the success of the future. The reality is we've been doing it for the last 10 years. So for us, well, I think we were very early adopters of that, and we're very, very happy with that. But like I said, the customers are going to tell us more than we're going to tell them. I think that's the most important part.
Great, fantastic. Contemporary yet timeless designs, experience, human-centric, client-centric is what we just spoke about. Following the trends rather than the people. It is every few years the trends change. How do we cater to the new trends, keeping in mind the client specifics is something what the executive center is doing. Three things, if you have to say, which makes the executive center apart from others, what would be those three things?
I think quality. I think
Okay.
that's the first thing, and quality sits within us every single day. Every member of staff, every business decision that we make, it has that uncompromising commitment to quality. Second one, I think we haven't talked about today, which is our hospitality offering and operational excellence. The physical space is only one thing. How you operate it is arguably the most important component. And then thirdly, really our locations, and I think, you need to be in the best buildings, whether that's in India or anywhere in the world. And we understand what we are, and good companies understand, where their market segment is. And here at the Executive Centre, that's what we focus on. So it's all about design, operations, and location.
Fantastic. So best locations, best hospitality, and uncompromising design. It is what the executive center is all about, as Ricky Wells tells you. Wonderful insights. Any closing thoughts that you would like to share with us today, specifically for Indian audience?
I'm just really looking forward to the future. I think it's an amazing to be a part of the story. It's a great journey. It's been a really cultural, spiritual journey so far, and I'm really, really enjoying it. And I'm looking forward to shaping the future of the workspace here in India.
Fantastic, Ricky. We are also looking forward to many more growth stories from the Executive Center here in India. Thank you so much for joining us here today and sharing those valuable views for the audience today. Thank you so much, Ricky.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
Thanks.
Thanks.